5 minutes ago, I still thought I was invited to do a TikTok. It's probably because of my accent. I was confusing TED Talks with TikToks. I'm not a great speaker. I was never asked to speak. I don't speak at my concerts. I limit it to the minimum, to the absolute minimum. I want to talk about chaos. I want to talk about navigating that with questions. I really like questions. And the science of style, if there's anything like that, I think there is. I want to talk about identities, categories, and finally, stereotypes, because I really love stereotypes, because I love all types of stereos. And this is, yeah, thanks. It's just lame. Awesome. Stereotypes, I love them so much because it's how much I hate them. When you're a person, you get labeled with stereotypes. When you're a musician, you get labeled with that, genres. Genre is the word for a stereotype in music. It's a style, it's a convention, it's a convenance. I don't understand any of it. I don't even know how to pronounce that properly. Nobody does. In California, they say genre, and then they go to the upswing. I don't know. Anyway, so I look at that, and I never understood what is that going to mean to me if I become a musician as a kid. Will I be left alone if I don't fit? Because people would be putting that on you all the time. So you start asking questions, and I think questions come from chaos, because chaos sparks questions, and questions spark creativity. When you look at the world, it's chaotic, nature is chaotic, it doesn't do anything the same way, it doesn't make two of the same, and it's entropy. I think it's kind of what we need. I think it's the most beautiful thing. I think we should embrace it more, because as a species, we are acting like it's not. We like things very, very smooth, and nature likes it rough. I think it's the most beautiful thing to embrace. I always looked at the world and the artist world from that perspective, and to show you how arrogant or romantic, I'll let you choose, as a species we are. This is my favorite record of the world. It's literally the greatest hits of humanity that was sent into space in '77, mission Voyager. And they put the greatest music that humanity's ever made, sent into space. What's cockier than that? I don't know. What's more pointless than that? I don't know. Music is pointless in a way. And I was always imagining, what does an alien do with it when they find it? Because it's clearly made out of gold. That's pretty cool. We like shiny things. But did they send the player? I don't know what's supposed to happen now. But it was a great hit in '77 because they promoted it with nudity, and that was a huge scandal. So, while I was looking at all these genres and all this music and trying to understand anything, I started looking up genres to study them because I hate them. And then this is what I found. And it's just, this is entropy. I don't understand any of this. This is kind of what we do when we see chaos. When we see chaos, we try to put it in boxes because we don't like chaos. We don't feel safe around chaos. Chaos is hard to remember. We try to name things so that we can grasp them because we're humans. None of this ever meant anything to me, and I will always stand my ground. But nonetheless, as much as I hate all this, I started studying it. So, because I didn't understand this map, I made my own. So this is something that I want you to do when you want to navigate something that you don't understand, I guess. Because I'm a musician, this is what I had to do. I look at the strangest genre there is, pop. I don't understand what that is at all. But as much as I hate it, I also love it. So I love how easy it is. I love how nice this concert size is. It's a pretty good concert. A stadium is a pretty good size. It's so catchy, it's positive. There's partying and dancing, but it's insulting my intellect usually, the repetitiveness. It's kind of just like corporations just calculating whatever is the most populist so that they get people on board. I hate that because it's not honest. I look at hip-hop. I see the swagger. I love the battles. I love the poetry. I love the bitterness of it, at least in the old days, in true school. I love how it recycles different genres within the beats. That's like a super genre already. But of course, hip hop also has a problem. Sometimes it could be boring, it could be too repetitive. Maybe for some people there's too much bragging going on. Maybe there's not enough information, especially these days. Whatever that means, because is it still hip hop? I'll let you decide, I don't know. I look at rock and metal and all these kind of genres, and I see that I love the middle finger. I love how gritty it feels. It feels like a rebellion. I love that it's... But the false dynamics is really the problem that I have with rock. When everything is loud, nothing is really loud. There's no dynamics anymore. I mean, in most cases, but what does it mean? Who is that? I don't even know. Anyway, I'll keep going because that's what you have to do. I look at another thing, I don't understand, but I look at it really closely. I'm trying to make my senses as acute as I can, to make my sensitivity and my compassion almost as present as I can. Also be as the most judgmental, as you can see. So I'm saying what I love about techno is the drama, that it rises, right? It's pretty cool. I love the narcotic trance. I can't do drugs because I was born this way. So I love that the way it makes me feel, right? But unfortunately, it sounds too similar sometimes. The fact that it has to have a kick is also quite offensive to me. And it's just maybe the timbres, when they're too synthetic, are they always cool or not cool? I don't know. But that's me, okay? This is super personal, and I want you to remember that. Now, the furthest from techno, you see folk, and then I see honesty. I can go on and on forever, but I'm gonna try to wrap it up. But honesty and organicness, but kind of commonplace, sometimes too cliche, too silly maybe. Jazz, the most misunderstood genre in the world, I think, right now. Nobody understands that it used to be a battle. It used to be about people meeting, controlling their instruments to a crazy level. And because they controlled their instruments so well, it kind of became gibberish and blabbering, and nobody understands what's going on anymore. Because it was used to be the theme. I could do a TikTok on that by itself. I really love jazz, but it's completely misunderstood. And then finally, the most misunderstood music in the world, serious music, as we call it in Poland. It doesn't even have a name in different countries. Contemporary, classical, it's not classical, it's not from classicism, but it's symphonic, but it's serious music, but it's, how serious is it? It's so serious that there's more people on the stage usually than in the audience. And that's not a good concert size at all. And if it's too intellectualized, people just lose the information, but it's so smart. It's actually so incredibly thought through. It's so beautiful. Nobody actually cares to find out how beautiful it is and how important it is, because it's years and years and years of tradition and acoustics, how you don't even need amplification for a good concert, and those waves hit your body completely differently than a speaker would, which I completely love. There's Fata Morgana all over the place. I don't even know if that's the word that I could use right now. Is that even used in English? Anyway, sorry. So basically, incredible things, but I never fitted in any of these things. I studied classical. I listened to rap and hip hop when I was a kid, when I quit school because I wanted to play basketball. And so I studied these and I look into them because this is kind of my therapy. What is this going to mean for me? If that was my kind of decision-making process of what do I want to care about and what do I want to dismiss from this stereotype of a genre, I made a test. Can I be all of these things at the same time without maybe losing myself? Or maybe what will I find out if I am all of these things at the same time? So, what did I learn from this? I learned that I'm still myself. I can still keep being myself. But I learned a lot of other things that took me to other places. And questioning the genre, even though you could stay kind of true to it, but true to yourself mostly, is kind of the way to find your path as an artist. So it's kind of like traveling. So you force yourself to travel. And will that compromise your identity? Is that going to compromise who you are? The more I travel, the more Polish I become. That's the weirdest thing. I don't think it does. And so there's few ideas that came out of this that I'm thinking about. So if you're an artist, I think this is a way to make your art richer because you're listening to the whispering voices that you had inside that you didn't even know you had. Because you're testing yourself and you're questioning your creativity, and I think that's the most important thing you can do. I think this translates to different fields and disciplines of art. I think if I was a painter, I would do the exact same thing. I would look at this perspective, that character, this portrait, that symbolism, maybe this, sometimes even journalism, because like, you know, Guernica is kind of journalistic, right? So you look at different fields of art and you just grasp whatever you care about and just make it your own in a way, yeah. Because your sensitivity will filter through it in a completely new way, I think. And the weirdest thing, getting all the education I could in music, I have a master's in composition. I don't even know why. My mentor is not even a musician. So he paints with shadows. He's an architect. He calculates the trajectory of the sun as his first part of his job. He's one of the greatest American architects. His name is Wallace Cunningham. And we talk about art because the way he said a few things to me about art just completely blew my mind. We look at paintings together, and we're studying a different field together because I think it's really important. The ways this can affect the genre is you can redefine it because you can evolve it. So it took me to a place where I decided to translate a genre to a genre. That means we started playing concerts for the wrong kind of people. I love that. That's my favorite thing now. So you're playing a hip-hop concert to a classical audience and the opposite, and then you combine people together, they meet on the same concert they would never have met before in their lives. So that's translating a genre to a genre. Then in my movie job, where I make music for movies, hi JIMEK, the producer is here, I just wanted to thank him for using this footage. I needed some sort of nervous feeling, but also fun. So I combined techno with sonorism, and the highest with the lowest, perhaps. Maybe it's hard to explain what it is, but it was maybe like Penderecki, which is for me one of the highest. I had a baby with Scooter, who is maybe not my favorite, but I still wasn't mad at Scooter in any way. So it is really creative to combine two genres together. And then when I was writing classical music, which is not even classical, and please don't call it songs because nobody's singing, I decided that the biggest problem of classical music is that modern classical, it cannot be boring. So it changes every 40 seconds. So it kind of became my mission to fight that. And it's a great artistic fuel to realize what it is that you're trying to do. So finally, to art lovers and people who want to consume art, I would love you to try different things, because I think diversity is health. I think you're going to find out things about yourself when you're consuming different kinds of art. It's going to be a friend that you didn't even know you had, that lived inside of you, that you didn't know you missed. Even if it's sad, even if it's not just sugar, because pop is sugar. We're used to sugar now. All we want to do, if you let a child decide what they want to eat, they're just going to eat sugar in forms of desserts and burgers. But if you're an adult, you know sometimes you just have to be a little bit sad so you can be truly happy. Polish people, we are very good at that. We make very sad art, and I'm very proud of that. I love that. But you're just going to learn things that you didn't know about yourself. And then finally, with stereotypes, I think you can look at the way you want to be, and you can decide which part of your stereotype you care for and what you don't care for. If you look at yourself closely, maybe you're at your parents, maybe your stereotype of a nationality, you can debunk any stereotype. And when you know what you don't care about, you can destroy that enemy, because it's a clear enemy if you have one within the stereotype. So you can learn it to unlearn it. And In order to do that, I have to do that to myself, to show you, but you can do that to yourself only. If I'm Polish, then am I supposed to be doing polkas only? That's not even Polish. What does that mean? I don't understand. Why am I speaking English right now? There's more people speaking English as their second language in the world than as their first. Is it still English? Who's English anyway? Is it the Queen? But she's German, actually, if you look it up. It doesn't make sense. And then speaking of Queen, can you combine opera with rock? Will rock die if you combine it with opera? And is opera going to be completely cancelled after that? Because it's the Bohemian Rhapsody, and who thought that would be a good idea? And the guy was from Zanzibar, I think, and Elon is from Africa, and is that America? And is Steve Jobs Syria? Is that even the American dream? Is that an identity? What does it mean to be American? Is it the Indians, but they're not from India? Why do we still think that? So you ask yourself the questions about you and your identity. I think it's therapeutic. You look at your parents, you think, I love my parents, but I hate my parents. I love my country, but I hate my country. I love the whole world, but I love humanity, but I hate humanity. So you cherry pick whatever you want to become, and you can make your own map, and I'm totally out of time. But maybe we should end it here, and then I can show you. So this is a cool word I learned yesterday. It's about when your therapist leads you onto a self-discovery, kind of simplified one, your own truth about yourself. I didn't have time to do that, sorry about that. But when I look at being Polish, I think, what is the greatest danger of being Polish if I'm being called Polish all the time? So I'm thinking, in America, I got a lot of Polish jokes, for example, right? That's the thing. Being white is another one, but being Polish, how can I improve my identity and choose what I love about being Polish, like all my favorite artists that I could talk about for ages, and how can I get rid of what I don't like about the stereotype that I get? So I'm thinking I need to collaborate with everybody, because if we're ever going to be judged, if we're going to be called xenophobic, if we're going to be called not tolerant, I'm going to learn history. I'm going to actually find out why were there so many Jewish people in Poland in the first place. And I'm going to write a piece for the Polish Jewish Museum. I'm going to record a symphony rap album with an Arabic, Lebanese, German rapper in Germany, because I think that's exactly what I should do. That was Berlin. I went to Kenya to play with kids, which was the coolest thing. I want to thank my friend Chris, who came up with that, and Manolo, who is here, who is also there. And what else? I think art doesn't have to be simple. Like I said, I think we can choose whatever we want to be. And if art is good, sometimes it's not going to make you feel great right now, but it's going to make you feel great right after. And if this was any good, maybe you're going to be feeling relieved that now it's over.